Okay, welcome back to another Windwalker video. Today we'll be going over economy updates, various gameplay changes, as well as our plans for future monetization. So off the bat, one of the biggest changes we've made was to remove the experience boost from Windwalker. And that was kind of that decision was made because just the amount of dev work as well as kind of design work that we'd have to do to include that, um, yeah, just was kind of a pain, and we really wanted to stick to a more simplistic approach, given um, this game has kind of the most scope and the most systems than anything we've ever really worked on. So we wanted to keep it as simple as we can, just hammer out on the existing systems, making sure that they're working well and they're all interlinked together through um, through the economy, through the different systems, things like that. Um, so yeah, removing the experience boost also helped me um, kind of figure out how the economy flows together, and the value of things are just kind of easier to measure now. Um, I don't get like the strange behavior I used to get when at the lower levels from like 1 through 15, these prices would decrease and then they would slowly start increasing. Um, but yeah, so we removed the experience boosts and we thought of this idea to um, stop us from having to do all this like level design, environmental design, um, or we thought of an idea to kind of work our way around this plan to do a lot of level and environmental design. And that was because previously we had our little um, town island scene. So this scene, as you can see here from above, this was kind of your starting point, and then what you see in this kind of like fort-looking building here is where you would first be introduced to fighting monsters, and then you'd go on this boat and then sail off to some new world where the size would be, I don't know, like 10, 20 times this. And that implied a few things. One of them being that we'd have to make that world seem lively and interactable, um, which, in my opinion, requires, I don't know, maybe some sort of crafting system, um, NPCs that move, roaming merchants, and things of that nature. And when I was thinking about it in a design sense, it just felt like it was kind of too much to tackle, given that we want to finish this game, we want to do it well, but we also want to move on to different things. So I just did like a quick 1 hour like pen and paper session, and I was just speaking things out with my girlfriend, and I just thought of, okay, so neither I or Gary wants to do this like level environmental design work. So what can we do with the existing systems we had? What's the problem that I'm trying to solve? And we came to this conclusion. I can't speak today. We came to this conclusion or the solution to just change this existing town island and make it kind of a player hub. Um, and actually, I have should be up. This is my portfolio, my latest posts, kind of my pen and paper session here. Um, and just speaking about, didn't want to do the level environmental design. I wanted to be able to create interesting interactions. Typo here. Um, yeah, it would set us back, maybe not a few months, but it would set us back a decent amount of time. So here's the problem. No clear execution on gameplay loop. How do we create interesting gameplay loops with minimal dev work? This is kind of what our primary loop should look like. Fight monsters, upgrade gear, gain experience, advance classes. Um, Turn it into a hub with merchant, NPCs, dungeon master, sensei. We're just gonna go dungeon master. Um, so yeah, so essentially what this dungeon master does is triggers combat, encounters for the player, can also consume players' boss tokens to trigger a boss encounter. So this is actually exactly how this game that I draw inspiration from, Orna, does this as well. Um, not through an NPC, but you can essentially you'll gain these boss tokens from just playing the game, killing monsters, and then you can turn them in to have a chance or to actually fight a boss, and um, you can either succeed or fail, and then based on how you do, you'll get rewards. So wide solution, minimal dev work in comparison to doing a lot of level environment design, like I mentioned before. Um, right, so now we need to change boss encounters a little bit, and I needed to um, kind of put a value on boss encounters. So I added a few new cells here. Um, what's the success rate? Arbitrary number here, percentage, representing the player's boss encounter success rate. If you notice some of the numbers changing, I learned that yeah, it's just like I have to refresh it. Sometimes these calculations aren't very accurate. I set it so it does refresh every minute. So if things change, that's probably it. But they should be accurate. Oops. Right, so boss token value. What's the boss token value based on the player's level? Currently, the boss will drop gold and loot, equivalent to 10 times um, the loot the player would get at that level from killing a one single monster. So that also means that we have to add the boss token chance to monsters because a way to get boss tokens from playing the game is possible through killing monsters. We didn't want to lock it behind like a paywall or something because that would just kind of kill that player experience. So that's one thing we did. And I mentioned earlier we took out experience boosts from a lot of these chests, and then instead I added in boss tokens. So 1, 2, 4, and then 10 here for these premium chests that will be it would be an in-app purchase, and that's defined here. So the cost is defined here, and then real quick, this isn't done yet. First iteration, um, idea of what the cash shop should look like, something like that. And that's pretty typical for a lot of these mobile um, games that have these in-app purchases. So so we have now NPCs in this player hub. Excuse the bad environmental design. This is the merchant's kind of area here. Boxes, barrels, weapons on racks. Spent a lot of time doing this. An axe in the forge. That's the merchant over there. You can interact with her and get some dialogue, um, and then actually buy and sell things. So this is the warrior master, where you can advance your warrior class, or you can become a warrior and then advance your warrior class. Same thing for the ranger here. He's got a little wolf pet, as well as some food for him. And then the mage, it's got some cool particle effects and a golem that the the player can summon if they decide to be a mage. And then this is the dungeon master who you can speak to trigger all of your combat encounters. So the player starts in here and then just kind of walks through, and you can actually trigger dialogue from there. So I can show an example of that. That's going to take a little bit to load. Meanwhile, we'll just go over quickly the flows for each of these things. So I guess this is not too necessary to show, but this is kind of the buy flow, um, the proposed buy flow at least, for buying things from the merchant. Um, Shop flow, very simple. That should say sell, display sell shop UI, so items gain gold. Very simple. Okay, so that's me. And then real quick, I can also just demonstrate, and this UI is going to change. But yeah, I can equip some things. Do I have anything here? Cool. And then now I actually have those items equipped, which is always just kind of fun to do. Um, and I guess one of the things we didn't speak about was the monetization side, which I can touch on now. So I'm going to talk to my rolling NPC. I'll say let's trade. It'll open up the shop UI. Again, this UI is very not great, but things are definitely going to change before we actually release it. Imagine a bunch of items pop up here. I can, some items that I might want will not show up. So in that case, I'm going to want to refresh this shop to show different things. And to give a little bit more context is um, this NPC shop sheets. So these are the items that you can find in the NPC shop, and this is the chance for it to show at any given time. And then the shop will kind of maintain its inventory until the player either levels up, then the shop will refresh. They can click a refresh button to refresh the shop, and then they'll have to wait a subsequent arbitrary number of hours. Right now, I just have it set to 2. Wait 2 hours and then refresh again, or they can watch an ad to refresh the shop. So here, I'm going to click refresh and I'll say watch ad, and then just testing with Google AdMob, as you can see here, close ad, and then it should refresh the inventory of the NPC shop. So my cool guy over here can go here. I'm going to become a warrior. No thanks. Don't have time for this. Cool. Um, so yeah, that's kind of the NPC changes that I've been working on with the dialogue, with the interactions, bringing up UI and things like that. Um, Made a little jail cell for these little goblin orcs. Um, but yeah, so monetization, we're thinking of doing those kind of rewarded ads where um, you can refresh the shop by watching an ad or waiting like an hour or leveling up and things like that. Let's see. I made this a little easier to read. This list used to go down quite a bit, but now I just have like a X2 if I'm trying to say like, oh, it's going to be 2 or more of those things. X2, X4, X10, that sort of thing. Um, let's see. Monster. So these are things that the monster can drop, and the percentages that they can drop those things, and then the value at those percentages. Directly to the right of that. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it for now. Um, let's see. Yeah, so I did that. Interaction triggers, NPC shop, loot distribution. Yeah, I think that's it. Um, cool. Yeah, thanks for watching.